Welcome everyone to Enforcer and the Dude Christmas Extravaganza. We're here at Norwell Motorplex on the sunny Gold Coast. Very special episode this one because we got our second live audience. Welcome everyone. And dude, you don't reckon they had a good day?
It's been a ripper day, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So this is a second Enforcer in the Dude Days. It's not Norwell's. They've had these days quite regularly. This one was a little bit special because it was a flat-out competition, wasn't it?
Well, we put some trophies up and there was some quick times laid down. It wasn't every time I looked up I thought there was you in the car that was going that quick.
Probably better. Actually, I was looking at some of the guys out the back there on the in the super school cars. They were getting on the gas.
Honking through the sweep.
I know. I thought, yeah, this is impressive. So really good. So at the end of this episode, we've got a prize giving because we've got trophies. No expense spared here at the Christmas Extravaganza Enforcer and the Dude Day. So yeah, so we got that towards the end. We also got some questions from our guests today, so we're going to have a roving mic going around. We've got some special guests as well, and one of them has had a pretty big month. And let's get him on straight away because we want to talk about Bathurst.
Yep.
And who better to have our new Supercars Super 2 champion, Broc Feeney. What a reception.
Not too bad. I didn't expect that.
You're going all right. Great. We've got a great crew here, and wow, what I was going to say, what a month, what a year.
It's been crazy, to be honest, and to wrap it up here today has been pretty cool as well. So finally, we've got back from Bathurst. We've had our week off in Kingscliff, but I suppose it's that time of the year you reflect on everything that's happened, and man, it's been a good year. To be honest, I've just enjoyed it so much. That's the biggest thing that I've taken out of this last week. How much fun I had this year, and hopefully the future's just as enjoyable.
And what about your second dad here?
I know, not too bad, I think.
I saw a tear in your eye going up to the podium.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty special moment for me.
Yeah.
Was it 3 years ago? Broc rolled through the door here, and to see him accomplish all that, and to do it with you, Russ, at Bathurst.
That's what was special about it. Everything happened, and let's not forget Nash, Super 3 champion as well.
Yeah, that was good.
To see both of them up on the podium was bloody fantastic.
It was good.
Yeah,
both on the roof of the cars celebrating. Paul made us do that. That was pretty cool.
Because Nash is a good mate of yours.
Yeah, honestly, that was not only, I'm sure Paul was very proud in that moment, but myself as well. You know, I was there for Nash's first car race, and you know we've grown up together. But to see him as Super 3 champion, which I was a couple of years ago, is very cool. And both of us standing on the roof of the car celebrating was a pretty special moment that I'll probably cherish for a long time. Because you both did the score here, and you trained up Nash as well because you were sort of ahead of him at each stage as well. So it's a cool story that you sort of all sort of bounced off each other. You know, Paul's given you two the experience, and then you've helped each other. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. Let's not underestimate it. Yeah, no, it is for sure, and that's the cool thing about it. Why it's so cool to see him get that success, because we've both come up together at the same rate, and he's racing Super 3, which I was a couple of years ago. So now I'm just excited to see what he can do in Super 2. Very good. It was good to see us, and highlight of my weekend seeing all that too. It was very good. So let's get on to Bathurst. Yep. Because that's, I mean, man, what a race. How's
the pace of that race, eh?
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost too fast, if that's... I'm not sure whether the race driver should be saying that it's too fast, but it's bloody damn quick.
It's definitely evolved into a 1,000k sprint, hasn't it? Like, there's really no place to hide there if you're a little bit slow, is there? You're just gonna back up, and I think what really... You know, the lack of safety cars now, you don't have a lot anymore because the field's so good. So, yeah, to see, well, Chaz now, he's won it from the back. He's won it from dead last, and he's won it from pole, you know, like... That's not bad. Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good moment for you too, because, I mean, Chaz's last win was when you were with him, you were standing on the podium with him. Great story with Lee Holdsworth. I like Lee. Can I just say, he's one of the most genuine guys you'd ever meet.
Dead set.
I mean, and he doesn't forget, and he brought out a helmet a couple of years ago, and he put all the names of the people,
Yeah,
and I was lucky enough to have that.
I was on the helmet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and you gave him advice. I gave him a bit of contractual advice on what to do along the way, and he never forgets the people that helps him, and I think that's so important. And I think he forgot in a lot of sports as well. Never forget how you got there and the people who got you there as well. So very cool, but a genuine guy. And out of that, it's been just announced that he's in the second Grove seat down in Melbourne, the ex-Kelly team. It's a good result.
Yeah, it is, and I think he's one of those guys that makes a difference to the team. When he come out of Charlie's team, they were sort of in the wilderness. Was it the team? Was it Lee? And then he went to Tickford and made an impact. Definitely was one of the top driver in that team. I reckon parallel to Waters. Provisional pole at Bathurst the year before, and we saw that in his co-driving at Bathurst, didn't we? He just drove away from Tander, and not many people do that. No,
not at all. I mean, his times were fast, weren't they? Like, straight out the gate.
He was, just as quick as basically the rest of the main drivers.
Yeah.
And, Chaz, the Walkinshaw team did a great job that weekend because, to be honest, they smashed everyone. But Lee, came straight out, as you said, straight out of the blocks, and he was one of the quickest drivers all weekend. There's no doubt that he deserved that seat at the end of the day because he's still certainly got the pace, and obviously loves Bathurst. Every time he goes there, he goes pretty good the last couple of years. So I don't know, it'd be pretty cool lining up next to him next year because I think he's going to be pretty good for that team.
I feel sorry for Warren Luff because, again, another good driver, good bloke, and again, a real genuine guy, and a good peddler. I called him Mr. Podium because he's more times on the podium than not at Bathurst as a co-driver role, and he was penciled in initially to go with Chaz. So, I have seen him, and he was, I think,
the one that got
basically. I mean, he would have liked to see him. I mean, not everyone can stand in the middle of the podium, not enough room, but geez, I wish. It's a hard choice because I really like Lee, but I really like Warren as well, and he would have done just as good a job in that same car, and that was his chance to get the win.
Yeah. I thought Zach Best did a great job as a co-driver, to get that opportunity, and it was good to see Tickford take that guy from Super 2 and give him that responsibility of being the co-driver, but he was outstanding, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did a good job. He did a real good job. He held his mark the whole weekend, which was...
Yeah.
It's good to just see the rookies getting in, and every time a team's putting a young bloke in, they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
And, being a younger kid as well, it's cool seeing other guys in. I've battled them all year, but to see them get the shot and do really well it's pretty cool I think, and it's going to build that Super 2 category because it's sort of stamping its authority.
Yeah, the kids coming out of that can do the job, so if you're looking for a co-driver, go and look at Super 2.
Well, I think it shows the level of Super 2 now, doesn't it, with yourself, and like Zach Best, and there's quite a few in there. You think, how good's that you can start relying, because I think a lot of teams started to venture towards other categories, whether it be Porsche or GT,
for a bit of experience.
And Super 2 drivers got left out of the picking.
Well, it's going to be hard because
for Bathurst co-drivers, I mean,
there's a bit of a problem lurking there, because if you look at how the super licence point system works, the way we've been the last couple of years with COVID and that, there's guys in there that could probably go and do a job at being a co-driver, but they won't have enough points. So, Super 3 last year didn't get awarded points. Someone like Declan Fraser, who you'd say would be good enough for a co-driver, but I think he's only got 6 super licence points because of things that have happened outside his control. So that probably needs a bit of a review if we're going to be bringing these young guys on.
Well, definitely, and it's such a good, beginning of getting them in the introduction to the main game. As well is Bathurst or endurance co-drives. Yeah, because it gets you to know what you're in for.
Well, there's a
because
direct
I'm sure it would have been a shock for you initially out the gate, the level.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's a big difference from Super 2 to the main game.
But as a co-driver,
you
think back to when you went with James. You had a job to do, and you kept the pressure off yourself, and you got the laps, and after it was all over, it was a big day out, but you got it done.
Yeah, no, it is for sure. And I think the best thing about the Super 2 kids at the moment, teams would sort of normally go and get Euros, but with the one race, you do sort of 5 Super 2 races before that, so you're pretty fresh going into the 1000. When they get the Euros in, normally, I suppose, if I haven't really experienced it, but I'm assuming with 3 races, and they might get the build up to Sandown 500. They
Yeah,
can
true.
sort of get the feel
Play
of it.
themselves in a bit, yeah.
That's why I think the Super 2 kids are probably doing a reasonable job, because they're fresh and they're ready to go into
Good
it.
point.
So what's your general outtake of Bathurst, what's your helicopter view? You were there all weekend and...
Well, one, it was good to have crowds back. Lots
Yep.
of enforcement and dude fans there. That was
There was.
very
There was. They're not talking about that more than anything else.
But my general outtake was you just need to win that race. You need two red hot drivers now. You just can't rely on that safety car coming, and even with the lucky dog there now to get your lap back.
Which is a good idea.
It is a good idea. It cleans the field up and keeps the race at the front clean. It's I'd like to see a bit more depth in the field. Maybe a Class B. Maybe you allow Super 2 cars to compete in it or something. So I think I'd like to see more cars in the race, and not everyone can have a wild card. So yeah, maybe you have Super 2s in there. And
They seem thin on the ground, don't they? When you see them on the grid, you think, oh, geez, remember back the early days when they were around the bend, around the corner onto the last corner up the straight near where the hotel is. That was cool.
It was cool. But yeah, getting back to the pace of the race, like Shane actually drove the tyres off his car.
Yeah, literally.
Just drove him off the car trying to stay with Chaz. So whatever they plucked on with that setup of that car, it had plenty of turn and plenty of drive, and it just rolled the centre of the corner in the it's not very often you get a car to go across the top of the mountain but still be really good at Forest Elbow, and all those slow speed corners just turn. So man, what a jet of a car, and driven just faultlessly, wasn't it?
It was interesting, Broc, though, because after they had those 4 races at Sydney Motorsport Park, and Chaz he was sort of there or thereabouts. I mean, it was a standout when it rained.
Yeah.
But generally in the dry, it was sort of half there, but not really shiny. When you looked at the shell cars, you thought, man, these guys are going to romp Bathurst in.
Soft tyre,
because, true, but on form, you go, because I regard Phillip Island and Sydney Motorsport Park as a good test track, because a combination of fast and slow corners. So they were dominating, and you always knew Triple Eight were going to be fast. But when you got there, the Triple Eight cars were struggling a little bit. DJR was struggling. All of a sudden, Chaz comes out of nowhere. Like, it was bizarre.
Pretty crazy, wasn't it? And as you said, sort of Sydney, you can half relate to Bathurst. I suppose there's a bit of high-speed stuff, but normally the front handful of teams are pretty good at Bathurst. It's not normally there's one standout by a country mile, but as you said, the boys weren't the greatest feedback in our debriefs for most of it, but I don't think there was a car that was going to beat Chaz and Lee on Sunday. They just did a perfect job. They had the tyre issue, and they still come back, a little bit different strategy through the mid part of the race, but they left Lee in for an extra stint. Yeah. Like they played their cards right, and they came out. I was
really surprised at the lack of pace cars as well. I thought more people would run out of talent and end up in the fence, but it was actually it was pretty clean all the way throughout. I wasn't till bloody near halfway through the first pace car, was it?
No, people get a bit tired and make a little mistake, but I didn't need it. You made a little one.
Yeah. I was
We
one
might
of
as well
those
talk
pace
about it.
cars.
Oh, good one, Paul.
Yeah.
Just bring it up.
Everyone else has been talking about it.
Jeez. It's all right, mate. It's all right. It's all right.
It's been a few weeks.
No, but that's what I said. I'd rather he trail having a dip. At the end of the day, considering he was making up for me a little bit too along the way, get up behind Whincup, that was the sister car, and she was, it was right on his tail, and Whincup ended up 4th, and wanted to get on with it. Bloody good effort.
It was a good effort, Broc.
Thank you.
Very good, mate.
Okay, redeem yourself now.
Thank
We saw finally the launch of Gen 3. I hate saying that word. I wish I'd come up with a better, more punchy name, Gen 3. But anyway, so that finally rolled out. Had a pretty good reception, I might add. Camaro, Mustang. The Mustang decided it wasn't going to run mufflers and was loud as hell. There's no way you can run 24 of them without a muffler. It was bloody ear piercing. But feedback seems pretty good. Everyone seemed to like the shape. Camaro looked tough looked really good. Good uptake so far of what is going to be the new car.
Yeah.
In a year's time.
I just still waiting to see what it costs and what's the price list for all the parts. So, but,
Why are you sceptical, Paul?
I don't know, mate. Build a few cars in my time, and I look at that and just add all up with the stuff in it. And
Did you? Because you hadn't. I've seen it a few times because we've been going up AAA. Did you go and have a good poke around?
Yeah, I had a good
and
sat in it, and it's a beautiful car, Russ.
Did you sit in it? I would have thought you got in the Camaro's tight. No, actually,
I was in there all right.
Was it all right?
Yeah, I was in there okay. I think it's.
So what do you reckon? Looking at the mechanics of it. Come on, we don't bullshit on this show.
What I think of it?
Yeah, roll it out. Yeah.
No, I think it's a beautiful car, but to me, it's just probably a little bit too Hollywood. I'd like to see it a bit more basic, so you can get the elbows out. And
Doesn't look cheap, does it?
no, it's not, mate. It's not an inexpensive car, but yeah, if it stops development, that'll curtail a lot of expense for the team. So as long as you can race it hard and the parts are cheap enough where you can have a go.
Yeah. It sounds like that's what they're aiming at is the reduction, where you're going to cost savings going to be is running the damn thing, not so much in the initial cost.
But it's a work of art for a spec car, and you look at it, it's I think you said it, it's parallel to a GT car, really, isn't it?
It's very much that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like big
the
stuff.
build, when you look at it, and you get a bit of a hornet looking at how it's built. You know?
Oh, it's a beautiful car. Like it's folks, when you see it, like it's a work. Like if you were going to make a one-off, you think, how good's that? I'm going to stick that in the shed and drag it out every other weekend just to have a fang around and a bit switch or something. It'd be really good, but it doesn't look cheap, you know, on the initial build. They're still the debate. I hate bringing this up. The gear shift, like, is that as your what's your T-shirt?
I shift myself.
I shift myself. Yeah, got to be careful after a few beers. I shift myself, or paddle shift, or a combination of both. I mean, if they go down the road of going, oh look, we're going to put a stick in it, but it's got actuators in it. You know, at the end of the day, that's not what. Because why are you doing it? You know, why have you got a gear shift that predominantly is just activating what the paddle shifts do?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? So what are they going to go?
No, well, I'm relying on your mate and my mate, Mark Scaife.
I haven't got any mates, mate. Especially I haven't got that one.
I reckon Scaife's going to help us out here and make sure.
You reckon?
He's got I reckon.
But can they put a manual rod shift in it?
Oh, they can. You know,
is there facilities for it?
The spec's not finalised. I'm sure they can do it.
So you reckon there's still a hope that it's still going to have a manual shift, sequential?
I reckon there's still a hope, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it would be done and dusted. They're going to run.
I'm banking on Scaife fixing it for us.
Really?
Yeah.
Gee, you're brave.
I'll have to pull a few calls, mate.
I think he's lost my number. I don't know, or he's not answering. One or the other. Not that I saw anyone over the weekend.
Didn't they roll down that end of
No, I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't do it. I won't have a go.
I
won't have a go.
He's probably busy making sure the thing had a manual gear stick in it.
No, we didn't get a lot of love down here, mate. We didn't get a lot of love. I don't know. I'm not that hard to get along with, am I? I thought we would have, you know.
Might have been all the super cheap auto ads that were.
Oh, do you reckon that's what it was?
There was a bit of ambush marketing going on there, wasn't there?
That was funny.
They did a good job of that, didn't they?
I think there was a few upset people kicking around. I've got to tell you guys, I think there was a few letters being fired around the place.
Super cheap auto fish and chip shop. That was a brilliant campaign, wasn't it?
It was funny as hell. Yeah. But even still, like like I reckon that's great because at the end of the day, the thing who wins out of it is supercars.
Yeah.
Because it's creating extra media with it. It's like anything. It's like what they tell you. You know, whether it's positive publicity or negative, doesn't matter. It's still good. You know, because it creates debate. You know, and it's a bit of a shame, but anyway, we had some fun.
It was good fun. We had a very busy pit area actually.
All right, the reports were we had the busy out the back.
That's what they reckon. It was actually felt a bit weird, but it was sort of hard to get from the pits to the truck half the time.
No.
You're getting stuck, which was pretty cool for me because I've never experienced that before. You're probably used to it. But
yeah, back in the day, it was hard to get to the truck, wasn't it?
Actually, Super Cheap Guy reckons you were doing more autographs than me. What's the deal with that?
Well, I'm actually polite enough to go up and give him an autograph half the time.
Square it up.
I can't help myself when there's a little kid up the front. I go, okay, I'll sign your hat, mate. And,
nice.
can you get Russ to sign it? He's busy.
There was a few. There were a lot of enforcement the kids had getting around. I think.
Sold out. Funny enough, they sold out every bit of merch.
Yeah.
Gone, because they were selling. All these T-shirts, unfortunately, the kid merch out of the Red Bull merchandise, sold every single thing. So it was a good incentive, and the good thing about it is what it's going to do, I think, especially for Bathurst, is entice other companies to maybe do the same thing. You know, instead of looking at this, that's what gives me a dead set shit sometimes with how they approach these things, is instead of they look at it as a negative. Only because of the sponsor clash, but it should be a positive. Yeah. The other companies will look at that and go, you know what? Shit, that was good. We can't afford to sponsor a car for a whole year. Let's just do Bathurst. How good's that? And all of a sudden you might get another 5 cars on the grid, fully sponsored, to do wildcards.
Driven by the enforcer.
I don't know about that, mate. That was hard, yak.
Well, you did a good job too, Ross. I'm not pissing in your
mate.
pocket, but that was, for a bloke who's pushing 60, and the effort you put into that.
50 something, right? It was a good ride. It was really interesting working with the team. It was great working with Broc, and I'm going to say that because he's a good lad, and the environment was really good. And what it showed me is working in that team environment, and I'm not pushing this is not directed towards Red Bull or Triple Eight or Rolling Name. Just working in a highly profiled team that the structure of it was incredible to work with, and seeing how they did things and the differences between other teams I've worked with in the past, you know, just how they went about their craft was really interesting, and you can see why they win. You know, it's just everything is very logical, very calm. There's no panic. Everyone knew what job they had to do, and it was just really interesting from a, you know, let's face it, I was a punter up until we did that race. So it was a good insight into how our top-level supercars team operates. So it was pretty cool. But whether it'll happen again, I don't know. I think I might just be Broc's cheer squad. Go Broc.
Get some pom-poms for you, mate.
Now we're going to throw. We've got a roving mic going out. I think Karina's going to do the honours. And for our guests here, it's your chance to stick your hand up if you've got a question to any three of us, or whatever subject may be. It might be Bathurst, motorsport, or whatever. There we go. Santa at the back. You're just going to have to get a white beard and you'll be cruising. Just getting there.
Once the SBR number 9 car is done, are we going to get a reenactment of that burnout?
The Caltex, I've been doing a bit of an update on the Caltex build. Actually, I haven't done one recently, so I'll have to get on to Ross Stone, see where we're at. But Ross Stone did actually throw out, once the restoration is complete of the championship winning number 9 Caltex Falcon, he said we can go at Ipswich Raceway and take it for a few laps. So I'm going to take him up on it, because I reckon that'd be pretty cool. Like it was just, and I talk about it with Paul all the time because he was involved in that era. It was a great time in motorsport. The sport itself, but particularly the cars. You know, they were raw. It was probably more about the driver than the car up to a point, or at least a good 50-50, which is the way it should be. It was just a cool era. So to experience that again would be great, whether he lets me do the burnout, because I did a fair bit of damage when that tyre let go. All the cords ripped everything apart and damper pods and everything, but I don't think he'll let me do that. But it looks like we definitely will get it out and do a few laps, and we'll make sure we take that camera with us. Yeah. We'll take that camera with us and document the event. So cool.
Move on.
So over the middle.
If I go off the back of that,
Yeah.
Marcus Ambrose is come up again. Are you going to get him in? Is he going to drive? And can you get him on the show next year for questions like this?
Yeah, we've been talking about getting Marcus on the show for a long time, haven't we, Pete? But with the COVID and restrictions, we couldn't get him out because we want to get him live. We were going to Skype him, but you know what? He's such an interesting character, and with the stuff that he's done, we're going to fly him down here. So early next year, might even do that first out the gate and get him down, because the stuff he's done, no one's really sat down and had a good talk with him. You know, like we did with Larry.
Yep.
Such an interesting guy.
We might have to go to him.
Very, very articulate. Go to Tasmania. we would get out. Mind you, it's not a bad place to hang out. But,
Yeah, we'll go there.
yeah, but yes, but we will get him. We will get him on the show. Whether he'd ever race again, I'm tipping not. No, I think Marcus is one of those guys. He makes a decision about something. That's it. Lights out. On to the next part of life. You know, he goes there. Then once he's finished that, he goes there and that. But everything he does really well. But I think that part of his life, he's gone. Nah, doors closed.
Want to see him on the show.
I'll get him on the show.
We'll get him on.
It'll be done. Yep.
My question's for Broc. So Bathurst, a lot of drivers opted not to do double duties. You did the hard yards and you'd swap between Super 2 and the main game. And out of all the other Super 2 drivers, you were the main driver in the Supercars as well. So impressive effort. My question is about whenever everyone's complaining about aero wash and all the stuff that the new generation Supercars has compared to what they had previously. How do you find switching between the two, and what were the main things you've struggled with?
It's a good question.
Very good question, hey? Yeah, it's actually very interesting jumping from one to the other, and our sessions were that close. There were sometimes I had like 10 minutes. Like, first of all, when you jump from one car and sit in the other, like they were seated up a little bit different. So for my mind initially, it was a little bit again comfortable in the Super Cheap car that we ran in. It was actually quite different to my Super 2 car, but yeah, the aero is a fair bit over the top of the mountain. It's obviously a lot more rearward in the new car, but you feel that the most over the top of the mountain. It actually gives you a lot more confidence. It's pretty hooked up over the top, isn't it?
But you were happy with Super 2 car, though,
yeah,
weren't you?
I was pretty keen on wrapping the Super 2 car in Super Cheap. It felt that nice. Honestly, I love that car so much. Like I said to the boys, let's get a wrap going and we'll wrap this one. But yeah, the aero wash is pretty crazy. And to be honest, it's still, you know, pretty average in the Super 2 car. If you get behind someone over the top of the mountain, it's pretty hard to follow. So you've got to be pretty careful with where you stick your nose. And I found out that the hard way at the end of the weekend. But yeah, they're pretty planted over the top. But I don't know, I think I felt more of a difference last year, to be honest. I was probably a lot greener than I was this year, but I felt like I coped with it okay this year. But there's certainly a fairly big difference over the top of the mountain, especially when you look at the data. It's quite a lot of speed.
So what do you prefer? Which one, if you could go, you could say you had a choice of everyone in the field either runs the Super 2 generation car, or which one would you prefer? Super 2. Yeah. You reckon it would have produced better racing?
Less aero.
Less aero.
Yeah, I think it's less aero, and to be honest, I feel like you have to wrestle it a little bit more to drive it, and I think even like you did 10 laps in it when you're allowed at the start of the year, but it probably moves around a little bit more, and yeah, I just love that car.
Take it back a notch in the Super 3 car with less aero again. What's that like?
Oh, when you drive that car, that is awesome. Like, honestly, that is probably one of my favourite cars to drive. That Super 3 car and my Super 2 car, probably some of the best cars I've ever drove.
See, Paul, you know, this is something they should be, for them to go into next year, I get it, and we were an advocate, probably one of the first to say they should put the Gen 3 program off a year and get it done right, which they then come out and did.
Yep.
They should be taking aero off the cars for next year. It's the cheapest thing they could do, isn't it?
Yeah,
take a hip off the front splitter, trim the wing back, and at least, because it's twofold. Better racing, it's cheap to do, right? It's cheap to do, better racing, and at the end of the day, it gives someone a bit of a lead into what Gen 3 is going to be like. All of a sudden, for drivers and teams to deal with a car with less aero, it'd be a bit more of a transition for the following year. Why wouldn't you do it?
Well, I kept throwing it out there, and the common response you get back is the parity's really good at the moment, and they don't want to start trimming the wings and mess up the parity. So that's the argument there.
Yeah, but the parity is no one passes each other, unless it's in the pits.
Anyway, we'll find out, won't
Yeah, we will. Any other questions? We've got probably time for one more before we have to wrap up. Anyone? Yeah.
Still on this parity crap.
Yeah.
How much would it actually, this is a hypothetical question,
Yeah.
but how much would it cost them and how big a deal would it be to take the aero off the cars for next year? Like,
It's a good question. What do you reckon?
an expensive exercise, hard work?
Depends how it's done. So it's pretty easy just to start trimming the under tray back and dropping the wing back and mucking around with it. But the argument is the parts they're going to throw out. They're all going to go, oh, we're going to make new splitters, or that's the argument you got. So anything can be achieved, but I think the biggest reason why you won't see it happen is everyone's got simulation, everyone's got data. There's teams with engineers sitting back at HQ, getting the data fed back to them, and the teams won't want to give up that advantage. That's basically it. So.
Yeah, but teams don't own the sport anymore.
Well, they still do, mate, because they're not trimming the wings. So,
yeah, well, that's...
If hypothetically, if you just bought that series and you knew a bit about car racing, you'd be out there with a Recipro saw right now, cutting the under tray off the thing, wouldn't you?
We'll go back. Yeah, you're involved when the VS got a 150 mil was cut out of the splitter.
Yeah.
I remember we went to Calder and it was understeered like an 150 mil, understeered like a dog. So you had to trim the rear wing up, do suspension adjustments to try and get it back again, you know, or close. But just all that was is trim the bar. Back then they were fiberglass, but carbon fibre it up. The cost to it would be so minute. And what cost do you put on better racing and better entertainment for the fans? You can't put a cost on that, you know. So, all right, Broc, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good
for looking after me.
It was good fun.
Yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, it was
year.
good. Yeah, no, it's been a blast. And we'll see you through the year.
Sure will.
Hopefully we have you back on the show talking about your first win.
Hopefully. Exactly.
Nice one. Broc Feeney, everyone.
Yeah, cheers.
We're going to head off to a short break before we come back with a very special guest, and he's very game to come on this show, but he did. So see you in a minute. Thanks, guys.
Sunday's finally here. Happy Bathurst Day! Yeah! Go Super Team Auto!
Go Super Team!
Go Super Team!
Hi, Nathan Murray here. It's been 1 year since a particular race that we officially can't say the name of decided to end a 16-year relationship with Super Cheap Auto. Seriously, we can't say it. 1000, see? But we still love 1000, which is why I've come up with a brilliant idea. So this year, instead of sponsoring the 1000, we are going to sponsor 1000 Bathursts. It's so good, it's almost stupid. Oh, I'm here at Bathurst Mowerland and Heating. Or should I say the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst Mowerland and Heating. We're the proud sponsor of the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst Bakery, the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst Real Estate, the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst Super Cheap Auto. Bathurst Golf was a no-brainer for Super Cheap Auto to sponsor. Driving range, driving cars. You can wrap the fish and chips in the Super Cheap Auto catalogue. Oh, no. What sort of oil do you use? And you thought supercars were thrilling. Rosemary here has 7 spades.
Oi!
Oh, I'm more of an Uno guy anyway. So. help on some Penrite HPR 5W40. It might be hidden under the dimmy here. It's been a privilege meeting some of our new sponsees, but 1,000 Bathurst, that's a big number. Maybe we'll make up the numbers by channeling some of our sponsorship savings into a sale, essentially sponsoring you. Hey, George.
Yeah.
Think you need a new muffler.
Welcome back to Enforcer and the Dude Christmas Extravaganza. And we've just, in case you just tuned in, we've just finished our on-track drive day at Norwell Motorplex. And we've got our second special guest, the one and only Craig Baird.
For some reason, I'm feeling vulnerable, mate.
Was there was no drive-throughs out there today?
Nothing.
Didn't
They're very well behaved compared with some.
Like a line I used in my younger days, mate. I'll be gentle. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please,
Now,
please.
Craig, what's your handle? What's your position?
Well,
known
DSA.
as?
So,
DSA.
Yeah. So driver standards, basically.
Okay.
I suppose to sum that up, I'm kind of the ref, and sometimes the ref isn't really liked. And that's the reality of it. But you can't, look, I'm a rugby fan, but you can't have a good game of rugby without a ref because there'd be no players left.
Yeah,
They're all
exactly right.
knocked out.
So to get it right, you are employed by Supercars, not Motorsport Australia.
Correct.
Is that
So
right?
I work with the Motorsport Australia team, but I represent, and the way I sort of, the easiest way to sum up my role, and Broc will back me up on this, I work with them. I'm on their side. I'm not looking for a hanging. I don't want a hanging. So I'm there to try and stop the old school, and you'll know what it's like. The white coats getting involved and making wrong decisions.
Yeah.
But look, there's no doubt anything with a human element to it, and I'm human, you make mistakes. You as a driver have made mistakes, same as you. Whether you're running a business or running race control, you look, Roland Dane once said to me, he said, honestly, if you can get 9 out of 10, and we make a lot more than 10 decisions each race, if you get 9 out of 10, you're doing a really good job.
Before we get into it, because we want you to talk about your role, like you've just been doing, but also the F1, because, man, that's got to be one of the most controversial things that's happened in motorsport for years. So I want to get your opinion on that, and it's going to be very interesting because you have spoken to Michael Massey.
Yeah, I have.
Who's a race director and Australian. I want to go through your credentials because I think this is important, because one of the things we do on this show is just other shows, they just talk to you, presuming everyone, including our audience here, knows who you are or what you're about. And I think it's important, it's about credentials. So when you make a decision, people go, oh, well, hang on, he's an ex-racer. He knows what he's doing. So, started in New Zealand, 1991, won 3 years in a row in New Zealand Formula Ford. British Formula 2 in 1992, got with Graham Lorimer. I did a stint with Graham Lorimer.
Yeah, you did.
94-97, New Zealand Touring Car Championship, won 4 years in a row. 98 British Touring Car Championship for Ford in the Ford Mondeo. From 2000 to 2013, Australian Touring Car Championship, both in full-time and an endurance driver. 2005-2010 New Zealand Porsche GT3 champion, won 6 years in a row. 4 times Australian GT3 champion in 08, 11, 12 and 13.
So that's why I'm grey.
Mate, that's a pretty impressive resume. So I wanted to make that clear because, like I said, I think it's important that you're not some desk jockey dill that's making these calls, that you have got knowledge of motor racing.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of history there, that's one thing, but technology also helps my job. So sometimes I look at something on TV and if I'm sitting at home and I make a judgment call and you think that's right, and this is what's difficult. Sometimes I've got so many different angles available to me to play with and go frame by frame, overlay the data, live data from the cars. The teams are sending me stuff, so I listen to the radios.
Teams are sending you stuff?
Well, when I say that, our team downstairs has access to has access to all the data.
You get lobbied there, mate.
So no, not yet. So once you start going through it, then I give a recommendation to a steward or to the stewards panel. So it's not just me firing a gun off. It's, look, I think no one's wholly or predominantly to blame, which I think is a great part of our sport. We're not just trying to say who's right, who's wrong. sometimes, as you know, and you know, both drivers can contribute to that.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll put that recommendation to the stewards. They may cross-examine me a bit and go, hey, have you looked the lap before or this or the corner before,
Right.
and make me sort of explore more. So we're not just a one-man band making a decision. And sometimes you make the decision but you look at it just on the initial and you end up with a totally different outcome. But the people at home just looking at it one off and maybe one replay from the outside.
And they're loyal to it.
And they're loyal to a blue hat or a red hat.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult at times because I can't, and I'd like to. There's a lot of times I'd like to, and you've asked me a few times, what about this? Why did you come up with that decision? And I hope you back me up here. You always say once you explain it.
100%.
You
Because
get it.
I've been guilty of that. And I'm
Yeah.
watching and go, what the hell? He's on drugs, that Baird. He's lost his mind.
Yeah.
And I ring you up and go, why did you do that, mate? And I go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Then, yeah.
But what I am prepared to do, and I guess this is
Yeah.
different from anyone else, is if I get it wrong and it's a call, and you've been involved with Anton at Sandown, we made a call. It was wrong. It was wrong at the time, but I'd given it, and based off what I was looking at, and then Shane said no, it wasn't like that. So if the other driver, once the other driver says he's at fault, which you never did.
Never.
Yeah, so I just went straight down. The TV cameras were actually there, and
Yeah, you did.
and said, mate, sorry, there's
But
nothing
I
I
looked
can
at
do.
that too, and I thought Anton had a little bit of blood on his hands.
Well,
in
you
that
said
one.
that exactly
On that
as
one
I
too.
walked out.
Yeah.
I was pretty upset that I'd made a call,
Yeah.
and it was wrong. Look, same as Van Gisbergen overlapping at SMP
Yeah.
in the rain at night and bits and pieces. That comes from timing. There's
Right.
a clear
Yeah,
breach
there's a
because
line
the
on the
timing
line.
transponder goes across before Anton, so obviously he passed him before the control line. Look, whether you love Shane or hate him, he is a very articulate driver. He doesn't make stupid mistakes. He might have in the past, but he's been Rolandised. He's been polished, and in the car, the guy just seems to have more time than anyone else. He's a bit like Schumacher at the time.
You're right.
So
You're
I
right
looked
there.
at it and I said to timing, are you sure that's happened? And sure enough, then I get my technical guys, they give me, so I said, hold the penalty, just hold it. It had already been fired from race control, but I said, don't bring him in. So we messaged the team, we said, don't bring him in, because something just wasn't right. I got the data out of Anton's car, immediately sent to me, looked at it, 0.4 of a second, he's at 1.4 seconds, he's at 40% throttle.
Yeah,
So
he's pedalled it.
whether that was in his playbook or whether he wasn't comfortable in the rain at
And he
night,
would
or
know.
exactly, and he could have had a fog windscreen. I don't know. So I said no penalty apply, withdraw it, and carry on.
Yeah, and I think this is important. I've read out your resume, and I think that's what makes a difference. Because in my personal opinion, there's been some pretty average people that have been in your position over the past that have made bad calls. I've been on the receiving end of plenty. And I think it's important.
Well, you have.
With,
The big difference is when they
someone
got it
that
wrong,
knows
they
about
wouldn't
racing,
admit it. When they got it wrong, they wouldn't admit it.
Exactly.
Well, the biggest thing is
Exactly, yeah.
most of the drivers said to me when I got the job, they said, this is pretty good, send a thief to catch a thief.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it,
Yeah, right.
I've dished plenty out. So Russell and I get on pretty well.
Yeah, you know how to get the gloves off as good as anyone, right?
Yeah.
Without putting a mark on your car. Never touched him. What are you talking
Never
about?
touched them, sir.
Have you enjoyed doing it?
No?
No.
No.
Do you find you get asked out for coffee a lot less with people?
No,
or-
look, the amazing part is I've ended up in the role. The first year was really, really difficult because I think I was you come in and everyone's trying to sort of defend themselves, and now it's more, I'm very relaxed with it. It's a chat first. They come in, have a chat, and they know if I'm telling them they're guilty. Pretty much they go, how bad's it look? Do you want to watch the vision? How bad's it look? I said, it doesn't look great. And they said, oh, well, it is what it is. And the other thing we did introduce was small, medium and large penalties. So a 5 second, 15
Yeah, that's
basically.
big. Not a drive-through, not ruining your
Well,
whole
everything was a
weekend.
drive-through, and
Yeah.
I refused to do it as a drive-through, so the recommended penalties table we changed. So to give you an idea, bump and run, if you can't redress it, but you've gained a lasting advantage by it. It's a small, so it's 5 seconds. So we'll sort of reverse the positions with the 5 seconds. The 15, sort of, you turn someone round, you haven't put them in the fence, you haven't wrecked their day completely, but they've lost a lot of positions, but carried on. It's a 15 that can be served at the next pit stop, which I think is good because you can carry on racing at Bathurst. You know, at long distance races, it really works well because it's a play on effect. And that can be exactly the same incident, but you put the guy on the fence. It can be the same contact, but the guy ends up crashing his car or breaking a wheel off it or something. Then you've wrecked his day, so we kind of wrecked their day by...
Well, it's so important not to take good cars out of battles unnecessarily because it affects the show.
Yeah, we're an entertainment business and
exactly right. And that's what was happening with the drive-throughs.
Yes.
The drive-through, it just totally screw you for the weekend, taking good cars out of good battles for very minor reasons.
You know, and even things like pit lane infringements. With OH&S and everything else, in this era, we can't say contact in the pit lane's okay. It's, you know, one day someone will fire through mechanics that are working or whatever. So I sort of apply the same thinking, just a little rub there. When someone's wholly in the fast lane, an unsafe release, but it's not really unsafe, but there's contact.
Just a little mistiming.
It's a 5 second. Yeah. And you know, if it grinds on a bit further down the pit lane, it could be a 15. And you know, if someone's totally careless or reckless or dangerous, I can sort of chuck in a drive-through, and at the end of the day they're only recommended because you can still refer it to the stewards if you thought someone had intent.
Do you get communications from the teams during?
Yes.
So it's open like the Formula One? Because that's what they're saying. I mean, is that a pain in the backside?
Yeah, it's a pain in the backside. So what I'd like it to be is
we're in a pretty general crowd here, so
is it logical communication or is it emotional?
No, it's emotional. So a driver gets past and they could be clean past. The first thing they do is go, Paul Morris just tapped me and got past because they feel like they shouldn't have lost that position. So then I just get an email directly to race control. The shit that I don't want to go searching for all of a sudden becomes a official investigation.
Oh, you've got to deal with it.
Well, I've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then is it a breach, yes or no? And Michael Massey always taught me that once it's an official investigation, it's not a chat. Is it yes or is it a no?
Right.
Does it breach that rule? And
should it be boned or the communication?
Well, I think what it needs to be, if Paul wants to throw you under the bus, you should get to see that Paul's throwing you under the bus. Because what Paul wants to do is throw you under the bus
so it should be on
and
TV.
blame me.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. They go, Beto, why are you sweating the small stuff? I go, well, that's actually him. So now we even on the investigation forms, we put as a result of Paul Morris asking me. So we're trying to expose them a little bit.
Should that be part of the telecast? A team puts in a complaint about, comes it in, bit like pit radio. You know, they put the pit radio thing up.
Because we still don't know who caused Balaclava Gate, do we?
Oh, that was wrong, mate.
That was wrong, but we had a gentleman's agreement, right?
Exactly
and someone's complained and thrown Marcus under the bus. We still don't know who that was.
Yeah.
So I think
if that was for everyone to know,
to a point for an investigation. But what I'm not liking is, and we've seen it. We will talk about F1. Having direct radio access. The teams have always had that to Charlie. And they're very respectful. Now it's turned into a bit of a Hollywood show where they've broadcast that, and that's what's really exposed Michael. Michael basically, if you go through it piece by piece, he's almost explaining his thought pattern for the time. But what people don't understand, the recovery time, the information he's getting from the recoveries people, how long it's going to be. You know, there was debris everywhere, so it was going to be a little bit longer. So then he's got a whole lot of tools that's a moving target for him or any race director, and that changes. Especially, you got a world championship, you got cars between people, and we're running out of time. So his mindset's changing through that 5 lap sort of process.
These guys to get the race going.
And we're all listening to guys trying to manipulate what was to happen, lobbying that side and that side. But at the end of the day, no matter what Michael did, and we all know Michael was a very articulate, very intelligent, and you probably, people say, he should lose his job or whatever. Absolutely not, because he's done such a good job. It's just the fact that we listened to it all. and it muddied the water a little bit for people. Now, if he waves all the cars through, or let's start at the beginning, if he waved none through, there was a non-event. Hamilton just drove.
And then everyone blows up at that.
Everyone blows up at that.
Yeah.
Then he looks at it and he goes, what's possible? Okay, maybe if I get, you two are vying for the World Championship, you're on even money.
Get everyone out of the road.
Get the people out quickly, which is just the 5 or 6 cars that they waved through. Good option. But if you look back through the strategy of Mercedes-Benz, they also never reacted of any of the safety car, or more importantly, the virtual safety car earlier, where they could have taken tyres on, not lost track position.
But did they not do that because they would have lost track position?
No,
and
they
they
wouldn't.
weren't sure whether they were going to take the cars out or not?
No, because as soon as Red Bull pitted Verstappen under virtual safety car, he had a 4-second lead, so he's still going to come out with a 4-second lead. He just had to react to it immediately the next lap, and they missed the boat, and then they couldn't because he would have come out.
And they would have lost nothing.
Or they would have started without him.
Yeah.
So, exposing all of those things, they either wanted to get the show on the road and have a race, which I think is the right thing to do. But that's if you're wearing a Red Bull hat, you're happy. I think Hamilton deserved to win that race because he led it the whole time. But let's not forget one big thing: a World Championship's not made up of the last lap of...
No, it's not, is it?
It's made up of the whole year.
A fair bit going on.
And Mercedes-Benz, and you know, I drive a Mercedes-Benz. I think they underperformed the first half of the season.
You must be getting paid well, mate.
Came out, I stole it.
All right, okay. That's right. We're on the Gold Coast,
I'm sure he's probably better at getting a deal than you.
I am a Kiwi, so...
He's learnt well. So your opinion, he made the right decision, but maybe not the right driver or team won. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. That race was Hamilton's race, but I look at the whole season. Now, Verstappen won the most races, most poles, most fastest laps. The stats show that he probably should be world champion.
Yeah.
That debate will go on forever. People will say Michael should lose his job. Michael will probably be getting a pay rise because I think the TV ratings are something up like 61%.
You've spoken to Michael?
Yes.
And is he, well, is he
we
okay?
all
know Michael, you know, I mean, he's a great...
He's comfortable in his decision making.
Right? Is he getting smashed, or has he got support at the FIA?
Well, you know, I don't go too deep into it. He said he's comfortable with where he's at with everything, and I think they need to back him. See,
I hope they don't throw him under the bus.
Correct.
If the heat starts coming on.
Correct.
Because you know what some organisations can be like, and if there's they all love the publicity and they all love how good's this for the show and the ratings and everything. But you know what? We need a fall guy too, so sorry.
Well, if he's the fall guy, that would be very sad because
Absolutely.
he's only just gaining momentum and like anything, the longer you do a job, the more confidence you have in it, and confidence breeds better decisions. He thinks on his feet, and you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We all know that, and we're all experts with a bit of it. He probably looks at it now and goes, well, I could have red flagged it also. That would have given them both.
It would have been a dud for the championship.
Well, it wouldn't have been because what if they had red flagged it with 5 to go?
Right.
So they still had 5 to go.
Okay,
so it wasn't a time certain finish.
They put tyres on.
So they both could have put a set of softs on.
Yeah.
Which would have been new or near new.
Yeah.
And it would have been a standing start, and that would have been fantastic. But when do we really red flag races? When it was like it wasn't a big accident. It took a little bit of cleaning up, but it wasn't.
It's normally a
reaction
to something huge.
Grosjean wasn't in it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a massive accident.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
We don't hang a red flag out just willy nilly. But looking at it, it was probably an option that you'd never think of at the time with the moving target, but it probably wouldn't have been a bad one.
Like you said though, for the sport, I haven't seen anything like it for decades. Like,
Correct.
It's just unbelievable.
Normally, when I watch every Grand Prix, and when the checkered flag falls, I'm already heading for bed. I hung in there because I wanted to see the punch up. That's what I thought was coming. And you know, there's headphones getting thrown around the place, and what really disappointed. Well, at the time, I thought Hamilton, his father, the way they congratulated Verstappen and Max, who you know I've raced a lot against his dad, Jos, And I thought, that was really well handled. Those guys did that very well. And then I read they boycotted the FIA Formula One Awards.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Just read up on that.
That's bullshit to me because
it's disrespectful though, isn't it?
It's disrespectful, and it means when he jumped out of the car and they were all shaking hands and saying well done, it was fake.
It's just for the
because
TV.
if you're that pissed off, you would go and watch the guy get his trophy.
Yeah. And especially the team principal not going.
Well, maybe he's just upset with the FIA, not with Verstappen.
Oh, well,
I think it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I
But
think
you still got to be respectful to. I mean, there's plenty of times I've gone to a Supercars gala dinner, gritting my teeth.
Yeah.
Because I've just lost the championship.
All
of them. Well,
except
one.
For some reason,
Except one.
But you still go.
Yeah.
You still go. You still got to acknowledge the champion and
hold your head high. It was a great championship.
I don't know, but I mean, it's just...
He doesn't know where to put it, the check.
But it's wrong, though. It's wrong, and it's still continuing. You shown me a video of Toto Wolff's put something on a...
Yeah, they're going on.
Got into it.
Yeah, and that's even worse when that starts going down that path. You know, I'm surprised Mercedes haven't tried to...
Contain that,
contain it, shut it all down, get on with it, and work towards next year, because the milk has been spilt.
Yeah.
It's done.
Pete Hadden said he cancelled his order for his Mercedes.
Well, it probably won't change Mercedes' annual profit, but Pete did get another social media tweet.
He got animated.
I love him.
Hey, while you're here, and on the Formula One, Oscar Piastri. We cannot go through the show and not mention Oscar. And Oscar's won the Formula 2 championship. He's Formula 2 champion at that same event.
Well, it's 3 in a row now too. That's 3 championships in a row, and they're European championships. He is racing,
it's unbelievable,
just unbelievably. So to go from the Renault Formula 3 and Formula 2 and win in Formula 2 in a rookie year is.
I'll tell you what annoys me about the whole system, though, is there you've got someone like that that's won 3 major championships, and he's sitting on the sidelines when drivers below him, just because they've, financially well off, whether it be sponsors or dad, have bought themselves into it, and he's got a Renault deal, his test drivers. Life
he's going to end up there, but I agree with you.
But that's where the system.
Spotlight, really,
system's wrong.
Could do. The system is always wrong, but it doesn't matter what form of motor racing, from go-karts right through. There's people that buy their way in, and just it's a very expensive form of tennis, I suppose. We can't.
It's still annoying though.
It's annoying,
especially because that's a standout.
Yeah. But I hope they do what they did with Liam Lawson's Style, which is another Formula 2 driver. Chuck him into a DTM car, keep his miles going, because being a test driver doesn't really mean you're driving.
Yeah,
because there's no.
You still got to race.
You got to race. So, but yeah, take my hat off to him. It's
well, that means we've got it right in Australia then. Like Broc's got there on merit. So
yes,
the Super 3, the Super 2, it's working here, right? That we've got a good pathway.
Look, we have a great pathway, and the way the supers, the 3, the 2, and the supercars, all it's there's a platform
does it help
there.
Because you would have seen Broc when he was 16, and
yep. So they
would have had to come and see you at some stage.
Correct.
But you're learning all the way. You're educating those guys along the way.
He was really
as well.
polite when he came to me first. Now he'd tell me to piss off.
I don't think he would.
Now Hamilton got knighted. It wasn't the Queen that knighted him, was it? Some offspring
that's
of the Queen.
The best suit he's had on for a while.
Yeah. So that was a bit of an achievement. Maybe that's why he didn't make the gala dinner, because he was getting knighted. Or
well, look,
does that give you the keys to the city?
At the end of the day, that guy there is probably one of the best Formula 1 drivers we've ever seen. Take away what he does off track and his Ronald McDonald shoes and some of the stuff he wears. But that guy. Well,
funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. Just so happens I put a little collage together.
Is that not normal?
No, you don't wear that? I'm pretty sure I've seen you in Surface.
The closest I'd go...
on a moped. So
the closest I'd go is to the scooter, for sure.
Yeah,
but Russell, you would go more to the right.
You reckon that's a bit
without the trousers under it?
It's sort of chic. It's down-dressed chic.
It's shit.
I got a feeling.
It is, mate.
You wouldn't do it?
No.
Dude, would you do the blue?
Yeah, mate. Good on him. Mate, if you drive that fast, you can wear what you want. It's like Chaz's hair at Bathurst.
It's just I'm
no one's saying nothing about his hair because he's at the top of the timesheets. But if you're 10th and got a goofy hairstyle,
the best one was that next to James Hunt. I think James had a Goodyear hat, a woman in a gold suit, a beer and a cigarette, and Aces turned up.
It's pretty rad though. He's definitely a bit of a style icon, isn't he? So, but speaking of style icons, right? I just happened to go through the archive. Now, if you like, no, that is a good-looking rooster, eh?
That's it, mate.
Is it?
What year is that? That's 2000, isn't it?
2000? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yep,
20.
big Kev.
Is that it?
That's probably at Outtake QR. You won at Calder.
Yeah.
I do. Harsh crowd.
Hair, mate. Hair.
It looks like Elvis. I reckon it. I remember, I think it must have been back in that senior pub, and you had some serious moves on the dance floor.
I was pretty good, eh?
What was that slide thing you used to do?
The canoe. Used to do the canoe as well.
Oh, the canoe?
Yeah.
The mower.
Yeah, the mower. We used to have it all going on, mate. Well, you didn't have TikTok and Instagram. It was the only way you could get the birds was to get them on the dance floor.
What I'm surprised about is you actually let him have a remote. I know. I thought that would be
I was flicking through, looking for the vision. I was
you want to be careful where you flick, boy.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. No family videos on this one, mate. Make sure I got the right USB. We got questions for our great audience, our fantastic audience from the Enforcer and the Dude extravaganza, Christmas extravaganza day. So where's our lovely crooner with the microphone? And guys, any questions for Craig, Dude or myself? Go.
Don't throw anything.
Good afternoon, Craig. My question is to you as the driver standards observer in Supercars, but also going back to Michael Massey in Formula One. How do you cope with the social media abuse?
Look, we all say we don't read it, but we do. And that is when someone asks me, do I enjoy my job? I think it was you. And you say no, and that's probably why, because you do. You get absolutely abused. You have to sort of block stuff out. But I think if you're fairly honest, and as I said to Paul, if you can put your hand up when you're wrong, you sort of come out of it a little bit better off than just turning a blind eye and pretending it hasn't happened. So
it's a hard one though, isn't it, the whole social media side of things? I mean,
yeah, well, that's the difference.
It's so poisonous. I know there's a big issue with young people with social media and that, but not only young people, like I said, the generation, because you're in a sport, you have to be on social media. Yeah. Some choose not to, which surprises me in supercars that some senior people within the telecast aren't even on social media. And I think it's still a gauge on what people want and want to see and that sort of thing, but also can be very negative.
I think one of the things too, if we go back to the Formula One part, is Charlie never got abused on social media because he worked for Bernie Eccleston and there wasn't any social media. There's been races and world championships decided, and we can go the Senna, didn't slow down enough through a chicane. They expected him to turn around and go back towards the traffic. He slowed down, he stopped, he went out the chicane that way. There's been decisions that have changed world championships before, but they just finished on Sunday night and they carried on. Whereas now, Massey will be copping this for 6 months, whether he be right or whether he be wrong.
Right, we're going to the back.
The pit lane penalties and all the other penalties, sometimes they don't put them up on the screen on the TV for the supercars. And when I've got mates around that aren't motorsport, they just come around and just want to see the racing. Yeah. They just don't understand when a guy gets tapped, gets driven off the road, and then all of a sudden there's no penalty given, and then the guy just gives him a slight nudge, pushes him a little bit sideways, and he gets a pit lane penalty. They sort of go, what's going on there? And I said, it's a little bit different because of, most of my mates are used to rugby league and union and that sort of gear. So can we explain more through the TV of what's actually transpired? Or
yeah, I guess sometimes there's multiple inquiries going on at the same time as well. So that's where it does, like sometimes I can have up to 7 different investigations going on at one time. So TV can be left behind a little bit in that era, whereas if it's a single investigation, sometimes I'll even give Nathan at Supercars TV, I'll try and give him a bit of a heads up, because it's not just out of the blue, it's not something that just comes as a surprise to him. But that is a very difficult part, and I have an operator that works with me the whole time, clipping all angles. So to give you an idea, if I've got 7 on the trot, he'll clip up, if we've got 48 cameras at a supercar event, it could be the onboards, it could be, he might end up with one incident with 4 different angles. Might end up with 7 different angles. You might be lucky enough that the onboard from the car behind, the onboard of the car, the external shot, there could be a helicopter shot. So they chuck them all onto a screen, and they're all on the one screen, completely time synced. So then I can go, if we take it back to rugby, is the ball down or is the foot on the line? Is the ball down, foot on the line, ball down, foot, okay, ball down.
Rugby's a lot easier to police than it is supercars.
Well, in rugby you've got one game. We've one ball. We've got 26 balls, and at Bathurst we've got 24 different fields. So I'm not going to see everything every time.
I'm not saying it's you, but it's...
Come on, you were trying.
But you can't do a Maori sidestep on the
It's almost like they need to, and I noticed Michael, they were doing it more with Michael Massey in actually doing an interview with him. You know, during the telecast at some stage after something has happened to explain, oh, why did this happen? I think that's a good idea that maybe because you're articulate, you've been behind the camera enough times so that you can get interviewed and say, well, like, just to explain the situations after the fact.
On the bigger ones, for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to do everything.
What you can't do is have the poor old ref walk off a AFL field or an NRL, and before he gets back to his bunker or whatever, every player comes there and he's got to line up with this many players and go, rightio, start cross-examining me and explain to me every penalty you handed out in that footy game. You just can't do it. The big ones, like you're talking about,
absolutely.
The big things that happen, and we can talk about Sydney Motorsport Park, about not restarting the race in the rain. Everyone blames race control. Well, I can promise you one thing.
This was a good one,
yeah, this was a cracker. Because when I look at the track, I listen to all the radios. I've got drivers going on and on and on saying, shit, it's too dangerous to their own teams. Not trying to manipulate things. You never listen to the guy. I never go to the guy at the front or the back. I take a few in between. So I asked about 8 different drivers, are we going? Are we racing? Because they're the ones that have got to put their balls on the line at the end of the day. And I didn't get one yes. Not one yes. Slady was probably the closest. And Slady actually said to me, we stood outside his garage and he goes, Bairdo, the conditions are bad. But he goes, I'm 3rd in the queue. It's not too bad for me. But he goes, if we restart this thing, our main goal is getting to Bathurst. We've just done 4 weeks in a row here. We need to get to Bathurst. Some of these people can't go home, and some of those cars won't go back in one piece. So that was part of the mindset as well. We're going to lose some cars, and if it's your car and you're Queensland based, you can't go fix it. So that was one thing that really played on my mind. We had quite a few emails come in from team owners, team managers, engineers saying, this is criminal, our guys don't want to go. So we made that decision, and then, can I call them wankers?
Yes.
Because sometimes I call them wankers to their face.
It's not G-rated this program, we're good.
Then I start reading, it was pretty good, I would have gone, and I'm looking at all the post-race
I think one of them was me.
No, but of the people that said no, then they don't want to be seen to be soft after it, so then it was all yes, and I'm like, okay, it was just me then. We would have gone. We would have gone, for sure. And when we were racing, there was no real option. We have got a little bit precious. There's no doubting that, and sometimes you want to slap them. But that was a very. I think if we didn't have Bathurst, the grand final straight after it, I would have said, boys, get in the cars. If that was the last race of the year or whatever, or you had a big gap. I think it was raceable, but for sure you were going to lose some cars. But what did Michael say? It's a motor race, Russell.
Yeah, it's a motor race. Let's go motor racing.
You can slow down.
Correct.
Cool.
And that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's the throttle works both ways.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, that's just about tied it up. Hey, thanks for coming on, Craig. I mean, like I said, you're the first one in your position to come on the show.
I've been trying to get in for a while.
Been rejected plenty of times. And, it's good to come on.
I was just trying to get the money up, that was all.
Yeah, well.
Money?
Oh, sorry, my boat wash.
You get a free bottle of boat wash, mate. So,
My son will use that.
yeah,
Will use
done. Hey, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. It's actually been really interesting, and that's when it's Paul's idea to get you on. Because he said, "Hey, let's explain the situation, and hopefully you don't get smashed up as much, and you know what you're doing." I mean,
You're pretty easy on me, I reckon.
Hey?
Thank you.
No, all right. I told you I was looking after you.
Well, he does, mate.
All right, we're going to go to a very short break, then we're going to come back because we got some trophies to hand out. Ready, dude?
Ready, mate.
Silverware.
Let's go.
Let's
Call
go.
the cabinet maker.
See you in a while. Thanks, guys.
I'm focused. I've been watching for the omens. I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it. Yeah, I've only just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the liar. We're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire.
Happy Father's Day!
Feel it burning through your face as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. I've been waiting for this moment, the final battle of the chosen. See, I'm never gonna quit, got my legacy set in motion. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the liar. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher.
Forster and the kid, over and out.
Kid, we're gone. Welcome back. Now, trophy presentation, because part of the day was, obviously we got our live audience. This is all the people that were involved in the Christmas Day Enforcement of the Dude extravaganza, drive day.
Yep.
And got some silverware, because this one, Paul, structured quite a bit different in respect that we're going for times, going for lap times. A lot of these people here have been here before and done previous days. Yeah, repeat offenders. And so they're keen. They're all keen to come back and have one of these beautiful trophies sitting on their shelf at home. So we've got the 3 divisions plus the Shootout Challenge champion as well. So let's start off with the skid pan champion. Paul?
The skid pan champion is Ryan Hadden.
Oh, right.
There you go, mate. There he comes.
What time did he do it, Paul?
Oh, I don't have it.
Don't have it?
No.
I think it was in the 30. What time did you do?
1:30.9.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, that's pretty good. That's up near, I think, what Nash was doing around.
Pretty good.
Good
There
job,
you go,
dude.
Ryan.
There you go.
Thank you.
Enforcer and the Dude, 2021 skid pan champion.
Park yourself there. So in the WOC, it's
WOC
pretty
challenge.
popular.
Now, what is the WOC challenge, Paul?
It's the Motorcana with the
Yeah.
world famous Jackie Stewart WOC on the bonnet with the tennis ball.
So that's what, explain that. So that's what
Yeah,
Jackie...
Jackie Stewart invented this, and it basically teaches you to drive smoothly. So you go through a Motorcana as a cooking wok on the bottom of the car with a tennis ball in it. If the tennis ball comes out, you're not smooth, are you?
So
You
it
lose
does
the ball.
actually teach you something about
It does.
technique.
Smooth on the controls.
Okay.
And to drive fast. So
All right.
it does teach you a lot. And that
Beautiful.
is Tasman Osborne.
Oh, good on. Very good. Well done, dude.
Captain Smooth.
Bloody
Captain
fantastic. That's all right. Excellent. Got to be happy about that.
In the V8 Supercars.
Yep. And this was hotly contested too, by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Like, they're good times.
Mate, they got a pounding, didn't they?
Yeah, I must admit, it looked a bit spooky out there, but...
Alex Hadden.
Alex. Right, Alex. Well done. Good on you, mate.
Okay, so then all these
Hey, look
guys.
at- notice something here?
Yeah,
See the young guys.
it's coming, mate.
Yeah, the young guys in all the fast stuff, but then
Captain Smooth.
Captain Smooth, experience, the old head goes smooth, eh?
So these guys all went into a shootout. So we picked out another car, randomly picked.
Okay, so these three, we're in the...
They were in a shootout in the 86 with the paddle shift. So went GT style,
Yep.
and that will be the grand champion, quickest time.
So this was warm up,
One flyer.
one flyer, and then just like a shootout at
like the
Bathurst.
shootout.
Okay.
But no experience with the car. Cold turkey in the car.
Serious, okay.
Was close. Come down to 3/100ths of a second.
No way.
Difference.
3/100ths.
Yep. And this is proper timing too, so no fudging of the.
Yeah, because you got
stopwatch.
telemetry on the 86s. Yep.
Was Ryan, grand champion.
Well done.
Yeah, mate. Russell's got a good number of a cabinet maker there if you want to get a trophy case built.
Well, yeah. You know, that's great, mate. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good.
So you enjoyed the day, and
Oh yeah, definitely.
there's something you can take out of it,
Yep.
obviously.
Yep. You know, good experience on the walk challenge.
Yeah.
You know, dropped the ball a couple of times, but you know, skid pan was awesome. So.
Did you feel the pressure of the shootout?
Not really. I knew I had my brother. So.
Yeah, okay.
Is that your brother, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you got a fast family.
Yeah.
That's great. Round of applause for them, guys. Very good. Very good. Well, that sort of ties up the
Yeah,
day.
that's it, mate, for another year. We got through it.
Yeah, it's been a great day. Been a great day.
Been a good day, mate.
Good punters.
Good punters. Time
Yeah.
for a cool one, I think.
Yeah, it is. All right, so we're just about tied up for today. It's been a fantastic year, another year of Enforcer in the Dude Show, and appreciate everyone, all of our viewers that have really stuck with us over, what's going on?
3 years, yeah.
3 years. Like, we just did this as a bit of a shits and giggles, really, and all of a sudden 3 years later we're still here, still having a lot of fun. It's led into days like this. To all the Norwell team, Karina, Amanda, the whole team at Norwell that put these days on as well. And it's not only these, if you're interested in coming here for a corporate day, a corporate experience, a team bonding session, there is no better than coming here, right guys? Very, very, very well organised, so have a think about that as well. We will be having more of these days next year as well, so tune in for them and get in quick because these sell out fast because it's usually these guys that grab all the tickets to start with as well. Really appreciate everyone here, like I said, all our viewing audience. Pete, Cody, Andy, the guys behind the cameras, they're standing by in here, you can't see them, but they do a hell of a job editing this show up, putting it all together. But thanks to all those guys as well. Everyone involved, our sponsors, Super Cheap Auto that jumped on this year and kept us on the road. So really appreciate them. And it's been fun as well. And then it rolled into the wild card as well, which is that was an unbelievable ride. And, oh, geez, I don't forget, I'll give myself a plug.
What have you done? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There we go, there we go. The Enforcer Marine Wash coming to a store near you, and hopefully this store right here. So a little venture I'm doing, dude. I've got some for you too.
Thank you, mate. I'll need some.
Because I know you got plenty of craft hanging at the Seacraft,
got a
hanging
few
out the back.
vessels.
A few vessels, so yeah, watch for that. It's coming out soon. All the guys here have got a bottle to take home. Don't drink it. It's for washing. It's washing your boat or four-wheel drive or anywhere. Hopefully, it's going to be available online at Super Cheap store very soon in the new year. We've also got some Super Cheap Auto gift cards for everyone as well.
Santa.
It's like Christmas, mate. It's like Christmas early. We're going good. So, yeah, so that's it for us. Time to get going. We're going to have a few beers with these guys, and we'll see you again. Drive safely on the road. Have a great Christmas, but drive safely. There's bloody lot of lunatics out there. Don't you be one of them. So see you next year, guys.